Everyone, it's Holly from How Did I Get Here? Welcome. Today I am thinking about when we get ourselves into situations that we feel may be over our head. Sometimes we feel like a crab in a bucket, crawling, trying to get out, crawling over the other crabs only to be picked up and plucked out into more danger. And it's been that way for me over the last couple of years. One of the reasons I wanted to start a YouTube channel, just to share a little bit of how I get out of situations, what I do. I've mostly lived my life by the seat of my pants, by my kind of like just my feelings. Um, there's a difference between intuition and being intuitive. And usually I'd go for what felt best, what felt easiest at during the situation I was in or had found myself in, like how did I get here? So it brings me to some of the physical challenges I've had. And this year, it's all been about my back and my knee. And I was going to physical therapy because I did have trouble with my knee and pain, and it was growing pain. And I was getting assessments and physical therapy. My balance was getting better. I was getting stronger, but my knees still hurt. So I said to my doctor, something's got to be done about my knees. I don't know why. It's my knees. And I stand on my feet all day during my job and my seasonal work. I have for years doing tour work and sales. So she got a referral for a X-ray, and they did find that both my knees had deterioration on the inside of my knee. Well, this whole year has ended up with MRIs and neurologist appointments, and it ends up being my back that was the initial problem that caused my knee problem. But the reason I'm bringing this up is we don't always ask for help, do we? We crawl and we scrape our way out of places. We think we made it, and it's just one more thing after another. So if I hadn't asked my doctor and pushed her to get me a X-ray that ended up to an MRI, that ended up to another MRI, and before I know it, we find out it's a whole different thing, I wouldn't have known, and I would have continued to be in pain. I cannot work with the pain I have now. I'm back in physical therapy. I actually like to go because it gets me out of the house. I live in a very dreary place in the winter time. My last video, it was sunny with blue sky. Today, the day ended around 4:30, and it was dark and dreary and rainy for the last 3 or 4 days. So anyway, the reason I bring that up is the weather can affect my mood, and I'm sure it affects other people's moods. We have to decide to be an advocate for ourselves. Yes, we do. And one of my good friends, for my birthday back in November, he saw I was struggling when we were walking in the mall. And he takes his phone and he says, how about this one? Do you know what a rollator is? It's a rolling walker. And he bought me one. Yes. I mean, some people would be too vain to use one. Some people would think they really didn't need one. They'll just put up with the pain. And then something else ironic, this past summer, I worked for a scooter company down at the cruise ship pier. And I rented out rollators and electric scooters, and people would rent the scooters to go on their cruises. And it would help with mobility so they didn't have to walk. I mean, cruise ships are like a city floating in the middle of the water. So there is a lot of walking to do. And sometimes a grandfather or grandmother or someone who was using a cane or a walker would be with their family, and their family would be all excited to have rented this scooter for them, and they were not having it. And I'd say to them, well, sit down, have a seat, see how it feels. I'd hop on one and make a little circle to show them how easy it was. And it's fun, the electric scooter. They still weren't having it. And all the talk and all the squawk of their family, come on, mom, come on, dad, come on, grandpa, come on, grandma. It was usually the grandmothers that didn't want to use them. And I'd just lean down and I'd say, so why is it? What is your concern about using the scooter? And they'd usually say, well, I don't want to be looked at. I'm embarrassed. Or I really don't need one. They're spending too much money. Well, we can be vain. We can think that we're still young, that we don't need help. And I'd say to them, well, if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. And then they'd be like, because then it's their idea, right? They'd be like, okay. And then when they'd come back after their cruise to return the scooter, they were very happy with it and they used it, and it really gave them a lot of freedom on the ship. So, how did I get here on this subject? I just wanted to share with everyone to remember that if you have to ask for help and you really deep down feel there is something wrong, there's no shame in asking for help. So, why won't you do this for yourself when you need it? And love yourself. It took me a long time to say I could love myself and to have the courage to make these videos. So I'm glad you're here with me today, and thank you for listening. I'll see you next time on How Did I Get Here? Okay, bye bye.